Together, the big three cable news outlets in the US, CNN, Fox, and MSNBC, have mentioned or talked about climate change over 80,000 times over the past decade. MSNBC and Fox are evenly matched in their frequency of climate coverage, while CNN has covered it less overall. MSNBC and Fox position themselves at the left and right of the American political spectrum, respectively, so it's no surprise that climate coverage is concentrated in these opposing camps. Dan Kennedy is a professor of journalism at Northeastern University and has decades of experience in media criticism and commentary. He says that media coverage tends to run parallel to what politicians are saying about any given issue, and that has produced a setback in the climate conversation.
So I would note that if you go back to, for instance, the 2008 campaign between Barack Obama and John McCain, I believe that McCain was talking about some sort of a plan that he had to deal with climate change. And then, of course, we have Donald Trump coming in 2016, claiming that climate change is a hoax being perpetrated by the Chinese.
So Obama's talking about all of this with the global warming and that, and a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay? It's a hoax.
I really do believe that we had pretty much gotten to the point where news organizations were at least acknowledging that there was no other side to the climate change discussion. And all of a sudden, you've got the President of the United States saying it's a hoax.
Fox's coverage historically has largely been driven by an instinct to do one of two things: either find a country to blame for climate change,
that I'm the global warming warrior. We're making progress here with the worst polluter on Earth, China. They are the worst polluters on Earth.
or to insist that America has bigger problems to worry about.
It shouldn't be a surprise to people now because the president has said the national security threat facing America, the top one, is global warming.
I've always said that I'm a lot more afraid of a gunshot than I am a sunburn.
While MSNBC has an occasional segment featuring a climate activist, a lot of their climate coverage revolves around sharp criticism of climate change deniers. They've mentioned the word hoax more than twice as often as Fox, and it's not in a flattering context.
What percentage of those people believe that there's no such thing as global warming and it's all a big hoax? 61%. Nearly two-thirds of the people who voted for Mitt Romney say that global warming is a hoax.
Do you see a Trump presidency undoing all the progress that the U.S. has made in the last 10 years in the fight against climate change?
He has said some things on the climate crisis that I think should concern everyone.
CNN didn't give much airtime to debunking climate change denial in the past, but after Trump reintroduced the conspiracy into the mainstream during the 2016 election cycle, CNN's coverage of it exploded, mostly because it gave them an opportunity to tear into Trump.
She says he did, he says he didn't. Twitter says, look at how many times he used the word hoax about climate change, and specifically, look at this. The concept of global warming was created by and for the Chinese in order to make U.S. manufacturing non-competitive. Her claim about this is true.
I have a strong opinion. I want great climate. We're going to have that, and we're going to have forests that are very safe.
Great climate. Wants great climate. It's unclear what, if anything, the president wants to do about it.
So how do we move towards more equitable and scientific coverage of climate change on cable news? Professor Kennedy's solution is a focus on specific legislation and programs, rather than continuing to give deniers a platform in any context.
If the dissenting viewpoint is that climate change doesn't exist or is being grossly exaggerated, I don't think you have those people on. If the argument is that the legislation, if the programs laid out in the legislation that was passed last year are not going to work, sure, I certainly would want to put those people on. I want to hear what they have to say.
There's no doubt that the climate conversation will continue to change as the need for action becomes more and more pressing. Whether the big three will start talking solutions or keep debating whether the problem even exists remains to be seen. Reporting for Northeastern University, I'm Jake Bensinger.